In a tall building in a busy city, there was a big, beautiful house. The walls were white and shiny, the floors made of smooth marble, and the windows were so big that sunlight filled every room. This house belonged to Omar, a rich businessman. Omar had a strong voice and a loud laugh that could be heard across the entire house. He was proud of his money and power, and he liked to think that only those with wealth and high status deserved respect. Every day, many people came and went in Omar's house. Some were there to work, some to clean, and others to cook or take care of the garden. Among them was Miriam, a cleaning lady. Miriam was quiet and gentle. She worked from morning to night, sweeping, dusting, and washing. No one really noticed her, and that was how she liked it. She did not want to trouble anyone. But Miriam was not just a cleaning lady. She was a woman with a big heart and even bigger dreams. Miriam had a little daughter named Noor. Noor was 7 years old and had bright, curious eyes that seemed to see everything. Even though Noor's family did not have much money, she was full of hope and happiness. Noor loved to learn. At home, Miriam would teach her many things, even though Miriam had not gone to school for many years. She believed that education was the key to a better life. One morning, Noor was playing near the big living room while Miriam was cleaning. Omar was sitting on his large sofa, reading the newspaper. His face looked serious, but when he saw Noor, he smiled a little. He liked to watch children sometimes because they were small and easy to ignore. Noor walked up to Omar carefully. She was a little shy but wanted to say something important. "I speak 8 languages, Noor said in a small voice. Omar laughed loudly. His deep voice filled the room. 8 languages, he said, shaking his head. What can a little girl like you know? How can you speak so many languages? Noor looked at Omar and smiled. She was not angry. She felt proud and wanted to show him what she knew. If you want, I can say hello in all 8, Noor said softly. Omar laughed again. Go ahead, little girl. I want to hear this. Noor took a deep breath and started to say the word hello in different languages. Marhaba, she said in Arabic. Hello, she said in English. Bonjour, she said in French. Hola, she said in Spanish. Namaste, she said in Hindi. Ni hao, she said in Mandarin. Privet, she said in Russian. Jambo, she said in Swahili. Omar stopped laughing. The room became quiet. Noor had spoken all the words clearly and without fear. Miriam came closer and watched with her heart beating fast. She was proud of her daughter but also worried about what Omar might say next. Omar looked at Noor with surprise. For the first time, he saw her not as a small, poor girl but as someone special. He was shocked that such a young child could know so much. Where did you learn all this? Omar asked quietly. Noor looked at her mother. Miriam smiled and said, I teach her every day. I want her to have a better life than I did. Omar sat back on his sofa, thinking. He realized that he had judged Noor and Miriam without knowing their story. He had believed that only money and power mattered, but now he saw that knowledge and love were much stronger. From that day, Omar looked at Noor differently. He started to wonder what else she could do and what dreams she had. Meanwhile, Miriam felt a new hope. Maybe, just maybe, her daughter's hard work and love could change their lives. Noor went back to playing, but inside her heart, a small fire of courage and dreams was growing. She wanted to learn more, to speak more languages, and to show the world that she was not just the daughter of a cleaning lady. And in the big house, a quiet change was beginning, one that would touch many lives in ways no one expected. After that surprising day, Omar could not stop thinking about Noor. The little girl who spoke 8 languages had changed something inside him. He had laughed at her at first, but now he felt a strange respect for her. He wanted to know more about Noor and her mother, Miriam. The next morning, Omar was in his office when Miriam came in to clean. She moved quietly, carefully dusting the shelves and wiping the table. Omar watched her for a moment and then said, "Miriam, can your daughter really speak 8 languages?" Miriam stopped and looked up. She nodded softly. "Yes, sir. Noor is very smart. I teach her myself every day." Omar raised his eyebrows. "You teach her? How?" Miriam smiled. "I was a teacher before. But after many problems, I had to stop. Still, I try to teach Noor at home. I want her to be better than me." Omar was surprised. He had never thought of Miriam as someone with a past like this. He had only seen her as a cleaner, someone who worked quietly and stayed out of his way. He thought for a moment and then said, "Bring her here tomorrow. I want to see more." Miriam nodded but felt nervous. She did not know what Omar wanted, but she hoped it was good. The next day, Noor came to the big living room with her mother. Omar was sitting in his chair, reading a book. When Noor entered, she looked at him with calm eyes. She was not scared. She was ready. Omar smiled and said, "Noor, I heard you speak 8 languages yesterday. Can you tell me something in each language?" Noor took a deep breath. "Yes, sir." She began again, but this time, she said a small sentence in each language. In Arabic, "I love to learn." In English, "Books are my friends." In French, "I want to travel the world." In Spanish, "Knowledge is a gift." In Hindi, "My dreams are big." In Mandarin, "Every day is a new chance." In Russian, "I believe in myself." In Swahili, "Kindness is power." Omar listened carefully. With every word, his surprise grew. Noor was not just repeating words, she understood their meaning. Her voice was clear and full of hope. After she finished, Omar smiled again, but this time it was softer, kinder. "You are very talented, Noor. Where do you get so much strength?" Noor looked at her mother. Miriam said, "Strength comes from love and hard work. I want Noor to have a better future, so I teach her every day, no matter how tired I am." Omar felt something warm inside his chest. For years, he had thought only money made people strong. But now, he was learning a different lesson. "Do you want to go to school?" Omar asked Noor. Noor nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. I want to learn even more." Omar smiled again. "I will help you. You will go to a good school." Miriam's eyes filled with tears. She was so grateful. For the first time, she believed that her daughter's life could change. Omar stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city. He thought about his own childhood, how easy it had been for him, and how different Noor's life was. "Tomorrow," Omar said quietly, "I will make a call. Noor will start school next week." Noor jumped up with joy. "Thank you, sir. I will study hard." Miriam hugged her daughter tightly. "This is a new beginning for you, Noor." Omar smiled, but inside, he knew this was a new beginning for him too. The days that followed were full of preparation. Miriam bought new clothes for Noor. She cleaned and polished every corner of the house, hoping everything would be perfect. Noor practiced her languages and dreamed of new friends and books. Omar, too, was changing. He started to pay attention to the people who worked for him. He greeted them kindly and listened to their stories. The house, which once felt cold and distant, was beginning to feel warm. One afternoon, Omar invited Miriam and Noor to sit with him in the garden. The sun was shining, and the flowers smelled sweet. Omar looked at Noor and said, "You have already taught me a very important lesson: never judge someone by their place or clothes. The real treasure is inside a person." Noor smiled and said, "Thank you, sir. I believe everyone can shine if given a chance." Miriam felt proud. Her daughter was not just a child, she was a light. But even with hope and new beginnings, there were still challenges ahead. Omar's world was full of rules and power, and sometimes, it was hard to change old ways. Noor knew that she would have to work harder than anyone else. But she was ready. Every morning, Noor looked out of the window and dreamed about the future. She wanted to speak in more languages, meet new people, and show the world that a little girl from a cleaning lady's home could reach the stars. And Omar, watching her, started to believe that dreams were not just for the rich and powerful. Dreams were for everyone. The morning sun shone brightly through the windows of the big house. Noor woke up early, feeling both excited and nervous. Today was her first day at a new school. A school that Omar, the rich businessman, had promised to send her to. A school she had only dreamed about before. Miriam helped Noor get ready. She carefully brushed Noor's hair and packed her bag with notebooks, pencils, and a small lunch. Noor's heart beat fast as she put on her new uniform. It was clean, simple, and different from the clothes she wore before. "Are you ready, Noor?" Miriam asked softly. Noor nodded. "Yes, Mama. I'm ready." They walked together to the car waiting outside. Omar was already there, waiting to take Noor to school. Miriam felt a little shy to ride in such a big, expensive car, but she smiled quietly. She trusted Omar now, and she knew he wanted to help. During the ride, Omar looked at Noor and said, "Remember, Noor, this school is special. Work hard, be kind, and never forget who you are." Noor smiled. "I will, sir. Thank you." When they arrived at the school, Noor was amazed. The building was big, with tall doors and colorful flags waving in the wind. Children were laughing, talking, and running around in the playground. Noor took a deep breath and held Omar's hand tightly for a moment before stepping out. Omar knelt down and said, "You are brave, Noor. You will do great." Noor smiled and walked inside. The school day was full of new things. Noor met many children who spoke different languages, just like her. She made friends quickly because she was kind and curious. Her teachers noticed how eager she was to learn and how fast she understood new lessons. At recess, Noor told her new friends about the 8 languages she spoke. Some of the children were surprised, and others wanted to learn from her. One boy named Amir said, "Wow, Noor. You must be very smart." Noor laughed. "I try my best." But not everything was easy. Sometimes, Noor felt shy or scared. The school was different from her home, and sometimes the other children didn't understand her. Some of them came from families with more money and different backgrounds. Noor felt small in the big, noisy world of the school. During lunch, Noor sat quietly at a table by herself. She looked around and saw other children laughing with their friends. She wished she could join them, but she wasn't sure if they would accept her. Then, a girl with curly hair and bright eyes came over and smiled. "Hi. I'm Sarah. Would you like to sit with me?" Noor's face lit up. "Yes, please." Sarah and Noor started talking. They shared stories about their families, their favorite books, and their dreams. Noor felt happy to have a new friend. Back at the mansion, Miriam waited anxiously for Noor to return. When Noor came home, she ran to her mother and hugged her tightly. "How was your day?" Miriam asked. "It was good, Mama," Noor said. "I made new friends, and I learned a lot. But sometimes, I felt a little lonely." Miriam smiled gently. "That is normal, Noor. New places take time. But you are strong, and you will grow." Omar visited that evening. He looked at Noor with pride and asked, "How was school?" Noor told him everything about her friends, her lessons, and even about the moments when she felt shy. Omar listened carefully. "You are brave to keep going, Noor. Keep working hard." One day, you will change the world. Noor looked at Omar and said, "Thank you for believing in me." Omar smiled. He was learning that sometimes, the richest people are not those with money, but those with kind hearts and open minds. Days turned into weeks. Noor's confidence grew, and so did her knowledge. She learned new languages, solved difficult problems, and even helped other children with their studies. At home, Miriam was proud and happy. She could see the change in her daughter. Noor was shining brighter every day. One evening, Miriam said to Noor, "Your father would be proud of you." Noor looked at her mother with tears in her eyes. "I wish I could meet him." Miriam held her daughter close. "He loved you very much. You carry his strength inside you." Noor felt a deep warmth. Even though she never met her father, she knew she was never alone. But not everyone was happy with Noor's success. Some people in the neighborhood whispered about the cleaning lady's daughter going to a rich school. They said she did not belong. One day, when Noor was walking home, a group of children laughed and said, "Why do you act like you're better than us? You don't belong here." Noor felt hurt. She wanted to say something, but she stayed quiet. She remembered what Miriam told her, "Kindness is power." Noor smiled softly and walked away. That night, she told Miriam what happened. Miriam held Noor's hands and said, "Never let anyone's words stop you. You are stronger than they think." Noor nodded. She knew the road ahead would not always be easy. But she was ready to face it with courage. One afternoon, Omar invited Miriam and Noor to his office. He wanted to talk about Noor's future. "I have been thinking," Omar said, "Noor is special. I want to support her not only with school but also with more opportunities. I will arrange tutors for her and help her learn even more languages." Miriam thanked him. "Noor will work hard, sir. We promise." Omar smiled. "And I want you, Miriam, to continue teaching Noor at home. Education starts with family." Noor felt happy. She was no longer just a cleaning lady's daughter. She was a girl with dreams, friends, and a future. And Omar, once proud and distant, was changing too. He was learning the true meaning of respect, that every person, no matter where they come from, has a story and a gift. That night, Noor looked out of her bedroom window at the stars shining bright in the sky. She whispered, "I will learn, I will grow, and I will shine." Miriam smiled, knowing her daughter's journey had only just begun. The days grew warmer as summer approached, and the big house seemed to glow under the sunlight. Noor's life had changed a lot since she first started school. Every morning she woke up with new hopes, and every night she dreamed of a bright future. One afternoon, after school, Noor came home feeling tired but happy. Miriam was in the kitchen preparing dinner, her face soft with a gentle smile. Noor sat at the small table and took out a notebook she had brought from school. She wanted to practice her languages, as Omar had encouraged her. "Mama," Noor said quietly, "can you tell me again about when you were a teacher?" Miriam stopped her work and looked at Noor. Her eyes grew a little sad but full of pride. "It is a long story, Noor. But if you want to hear it, I will tell you." Noor nodded eagerly. She loved listening to her mother's stories, especially when they talked about hope and strength. Miriam took a deep breath and began. "Before I worked here, I was a teacher in a small school. I loved teaching children to read and write. It was my dream to help many children learn and grow." Noor's eyes widened. "Why did you stop, Mama?" Miriam looked down for a moment and then said, "Life was difficult. I had many problems in my family, and I had to leave my job. I had to take care of you and work hard to keep us safe." Noor reached out and held her mother's hand. "I'm so proud of you, Mama." Miriam smiled softly. "Thank you, Noor. I never gave up on teaching you. I want you to have all the chances I lost." Noor felt her heart fill with love for her mother. She understood now why Miriam worked so hard every day, even when she was tired. That evening, Omar came to the kitchen while Miriam and Noor were talking. He had always respected Miriam, but now he wanted to know more about her past. "Miriam," Omar said gently, "you were a teacher? Why didn't you tell me before?" Miriam looked surprised but answered honestly. "I did not want to cause trouble, sir. I just wanted to work and give Noor a better life." Omar nodded. "You are very brave. And Noor is lucky to have you." Omar's words made Miriam feel something she had not felt in a long time: respect. Not just because of money or power, but because someone saw her true value. A few days later, Omar invited Miriam and Noor to his study. The room was filled with books and maps from around the world. Omar sat behind his large desk and smiled kindly at the two. "I have been thinking about Noor's future," Omar said. "She is very talented, and I want to help her more." Miriam and Noor listened carefully. Omar continued, "I will arrange for Noor to have private tutors who can teach her new subjects: science, math, art, and more languages. She will also visit other schools and places to learn about the world." Noor's eyes sparkled. She could hardly believe what she was hearing. Miriam whispered, "Thank you, sir. This means a lot to us." Omar smiled. "Education is the key to a better life. I see great potential in Noor, and I want to help her reach it." After the meeting, Noor felt like she was walking on clouds. She wanted to study harder than ever before. She knew this was a gift, a chance that many children did not get. But at the same time, Noor began to feel a new kind of pressure. The expectations were high, and sometimes she worried she might not be good enough. One evening, Noor sat by her window and looked at the stars. She thought about her dreams and the path ahead. She whispered softly, "I will try my best. I will not give up." Miriam came and sat beside her. She took Noor's hand and said, "It is okay to be afraid. But remember, you have courage inside you." Noor smiled through her tears. She knew her mother was right. Days passed, and Noor's new lessons began. The private tutors came to the house, bringing books and stories from faraway places. Noor loved learning about the stars, the animals, and the different cultures. One afternoon, a tutor named Mr. Hassan arrived. He was a kind man with glasses and a gentle voice. "Noor," he said, "I will teach you about the history of the world. It is a story full of brave people who never gave up." Noor listened carefully. She was fascinated by the stories of courage and hope. Mr. Hassan smiled. "You remind me of those brave people." Noor blushed but felt proud. However, life was not only about lessons and books. One day, Miriam fell sick. She had been working too hard, and her body was tired. Noor was worried. She took care of her mother as best as she could. She cooked simple meals and cleaned the house. Omar heard about Miriam's illness and visited her. He brought medicines and food and stayed with them for a while. "Miriam," Omar said softly, "you do so much for Noor. Please take care of yourself too." Miriam nodded but looked tired. Noor sat by her mother's side and held her hand. "Mama, you must get better. I need you." Miriam smiled weakly. "I will, Noor. For you." During this time, Noor realized how strong her mother truly was. Even when she was sick, Miriam kept believing in Noor and her dreams. Noor promised herself that she would work hard to make her mother proud. She knew this was more than just about school, it was about family, love, and never giving up. One evening, Omar called Miriam and Noor to the garden again. The sky was painted with colors from the setting sun. "Omar," Miriam said quietly, "thank you for all you are doing. You have given us hope." Omar smiled and replied, "I have learned so much from you and Noor. You have taught me that true strength comes from heart, not just money." Noor looked up at Omar. "I want to make the world a better place. I want to help others like you helped me." Omar nodded. "And I will support you all the way." That night, Noor lay in bed and thought about the journey ahead. She had a secret now, a secret of hope, courage, and the power of learning. She knew that no matter what happened, she would keep moving forward. And in the big house, under the stars, a new story was being written, a story of dreams that could not be stopped. The days turned into weeks, and Noor's life became busier. With tutors visiting regularly and schoolwork piling up, she was learning faster than she ever imagined. But Noor did not feel tired, she felt alive. Every new word, every new lesson was a step closer to her dream. Miriam watched her daughter with pride. Even though Miriam was still weak from her illness, she found strength in Noor's determination. Noor's success gave her hope. One morning, Omar visited the house. He brought news that surprised both Miriam and Noor. "There is a special competition at the school next month," Omar said. "It is a contest of languages, and I want Noor to join." Noor's eyes grew wide. "A competition? I have never done something like that before." Omar smiled. "You have many languages, Noor. This is your chance to show the world what you can do." Miriam looked at Omar and then at Noor. She knew this was a big opportunity, but also a big challenge. "Noor," Miriam said gently, "if you want to try, we will be with you every step." Noor took a deep breath. "I want to try, Mama. I want to be brave." From that day, Noor began preparing for the competition. She practiced speaking, writing, and understanding all 8 languages every day. Mr. Hassan and the other tutors helped her learn the difficult parts. Sometimes, Noor felt overwhelmed. The pressure was heavy, and the fear of failure made her heart beat faster. But every time she wanted to give up, she thought of her mother's words, "Strength comes from love and hard work." Noor worked harder. One afternoon, while Noor was studying, Omar came to the house again. This time, he brought a gift, a small, old book filled with stories from around the world. "This book belonged to my father," Omar said. "He believed that stories teach us who we are and who we can become." Noor opened the book carefully. The pages smelled of history and wisdom. She found stories of children like her, children who faced struggles but never lost hope. Omar smiled. "Remember, Noor, you are not alone. Many before you have walked this path. You are stronger than you think." Noor felt her courage grow. The day of the competition finally arrived. Noor woke up early, her heart full of nervous energy. Miriam helped her get ready, and Omar gave her a small bracelet as a good luck charm. "This will remind you," Omar said, "that you have many people believing in you." Noor held the bracelet tightly and smiled. At the school, the competition hall was full of children from different grades. The walls were decorated with flags and banners. Noor looked around and saw many faces, some friendly, some serious. When it was her turn, Noor stepped onto the stage. The bright lights made her blink, but she remembered her mother, her teachers, and Omar's words. The first question was easy. She had to greet in all 8 languages. Noor's voice was clear and confident as she said each greeting. The second question was harder. She had to translate a short story from one language to another. Noor took a deep breath and began. The words came out smoothly, and the judges nodded in approval. The final part was the most difficult. She had to speak about her dreams in a language she chose. Noor chose Arabic, her mother's language. She spoke about hope, courage, and the power of learning. She told the audience how education had changed her life and how she wanted to help others. When she finished, the hall was silent for a moment, and then the room erupted in applause. Noor's heart soared. After the competition, Noor waited nervously for the results. Omar, Miriam, and her friends all stood by her side. When the winners were announced, Noor's name was called. She had won first prize. Noor felt tears of joy. She looked at Miriam, who hugged her tightly. "You did it, Noor. You are amazing," Miriam said. Omar smiled proudly. "I told you, Noor. You are stronger than you think." The win was not just a prize for Noor, it was a symbol of hope. It showed that no matter where you come from, what matters is what you believe in and how hard you work. News about Noor's success spread through the neighborhood. People who once doubted her now smiled and congratulated her. Noor's courage had changed how they saw her. One evening, Noor sat with Miriam and Omar in the garden. The stars shone brightly above them. "Noor," Omar said softly, "you have a bright future. But remember, the journey is long. There will be challenges, but you will never walk alone." Noor nodded. "I will keep learning, keep trying, and never give up." Miriam smiled with tears in her eyes. "I am so proud of you, my daughter." That night, Noor dreamed of a world where every child could learn and grow. A world where kindness and courage would shine brighter than any riches. She knew the road ahead was still full of challenges, but she was ready. Because Noor was not just the daughter of a cleaning lady. She was a girl with a voice, a dream, and a heart full of courage. And that was a power no one could take away. After the excitement of the competition, Noor's life felt brighter, but also more complicated. The prize had brought her some attention, not all of it good. While many people cheered for her success, some still whispered doubts. Some wondered if a cleaning lady's daughter really deserved such praise. Noor felt the weight of those whispers like a shadow on sunny days. She wanted to prove herself, but she also wanted to stay true to who she was, a simple girl with big dreams. One afternoon, Miriam noticed Noor sitting quietly by the window, her face thoughtful. "Noor, what is on your mind?" Miriam asked gently. Noor sighed. "Mama, sometimes I feel people are watching me too closely. Like they don't trust me. I want to show them I am good enough, but I don't want to change who I am." Miriam smiled and took her daughter's hand. "Trust is something people give slowly, Noor. But what matters most is that you trust yourself." Noor nodded. Her mother's words gave her strength, but the feeling of doubt remained. That week, Omar invited Noor to visit his office. The tall building felt impressive, with shiny floors and walls filled with art. Omar wanted Noor to see more of the world outside their home. As they walked through the hallways, Omar said, "Noor, I want to introduce you to someone." They reached a room where a woman was waiting. She was kind-looking, with warm eyes and a gentle smile. "This is Miss Lena," Omar said. "She is the director of a special program that helps young students like you. She can help you learn even more and meet others who share your dreams." Noor shook Miss Lena's hand shyly. Miss Lena smiled. "Noor, I've heard about your talent and courage. I would like you to join our program." Noor's heart beat fast. "I would love that, ma'am." Omar looked proud. "This is a great opportunity, Noor. But it will require hard work and honesty." Noor promised, "I will work hard." But when Noor started the program, she found it harder than she thought. The new teachers had high expectations, and the other students seemed to know so much already. Noor felt nervous and sometimes made mistakes. One day, during a group project, Noor struggled to explain her ideas. Some students whispered, "She is just the cleaning lady's daughter. She doesn't belong here." Noor's face burned with embarrassment. She wanted to run away. After the class, Noor sat alone outside, tears welling up in her eyes. She felt small and unsure. Suddenly, Miss Lena approached her and sat down quietly. "Noor," she said softly, "I know this is hard. But everyone here believes in you, including me." Noor looked up. "But what if I fail?" Miss Lena smiled gently. "Failing is part of learning. What matters is that you keep trying and never lose faith in yourself." Noor wiped her tears and nodded. She felt a little stronger. That night, Noor talked to Miriam about the day. "Mama," Noor said, "sometimes I feel like I have to be perfect to be accepted." Miriam hugged her tightly. "Noor, perfection is not the goal. Being true to yourself is. People who matter will love you for who you are." Noor took a deep breath. She decided she would not let fear stop her. The weeks passed, and Noor worked hard. She asked questions, studied late into the evenings, and practiced speaking confidently. One day, Miss Lena gave Noor a chance to speak at a school event. Noor was nervous but determined. When it was her turn, she stood in front of the audience and spoke about her journey from a small home to big dreams, from struggles to hope. Her voice was clear and strong. She spoke about courage, kindness, and the power of learning. The audience listened quietly, then burst into applause. Noor's heart swelled with happiness. She realized that by being honest and brave, she could inspire others. Meanwhile, Miriam's health slowly improved. She smiled more and laughed again. Seeing Noor grow made her stronger. One evening, Omar visited again. He brought news. "Noor," Omar said, "there is a scholarship program for students with great potential. I want you to apply." Noor felt nervous but excited. This could open even more doors. With Miriam and Omar's help, Noor prepared her application. She wrote about her dreams and her love for languages. When the scholarship was announced, Noor's name was chosen. She felt like her hard work was finally being rewarded. But with success came new challenges. Some people from the neighborhood grew jealous. They whispered that Noor was forgetting where she came from. One afternoon, Noor heard voices as she walked home. "She thinks she is better than us now. She is changing." Noor felt hurt but remembered her mother's advice. She stopped and looked at the children who were speaking. "I am still the same Noor. I am proud of where I come from." The children looked surprised but quiet. Noor smiled and walked on. That night, Noor sat with Miriam by the fire. She shared everything: her fears, her hopes, her dreams. Miriam said softly, "Noor, you have passed many tests already. But the greatest test is to be kind and true, no matter what." Noor nodded. "I will remember that, Mama." Noor's journey was not easy, but every step taught her something new about trust, courage, and the power of staying true to yourself. She was learning that the most important thing was not to please everyone but to believe in herself and the people who loved her. And as the stars shone bright outside her window, Noor whispered, "I am ready for whatever comes next." The seasons changed again, and Noor's life was filled with both new challenges and exciting moments. The scholarship she had won brought her to a new school, one with big classrooms, friendly teachers, and students from many different places. It was a world far from the small home where she had grown up, yet it felt full of promise. Noor walked into the school on her first day, carrying her books tightly. Her heart beat fast with both excitement and nervousness. She wondered if she would fit in, if she could keep up, and if she was ready for this new journey. As she found her classroom, a boy smiled and said, "Hi, I'm Samir. Are you new here?" Noor smiled back. "Yes, I'm Noor. Welcome." Samir said kindly. "If you need help, just ask." Noor felt warmth in her chest. Maybe this new place was not so scary after all. The days at the new school were full of learning and friendship. Noor worked hard, often staying late to study and practice the languages she loved. Her teachers were impressed by her dedication and kindness. One day, the principal called Noor to his office. She entered carefully, unsure what to expect. "Noor," he said, smiling, "we are very proud of you. Your story has inspired many here. We want to offer you a chance to speak at the school's annual event." Noor's eyes shone. Speaking in front of a large crowd was scary, but she knew this was a chance to share her message, a message of hope and courage. When the day of the event came, Noor stood behind the curtain, watching the audience fill the hall. She took a deep breath and thought of Maryam, Omar, and everyone who believed in her. The moment came. Noor stepped onto the stage. The lights were bright, and the room was silent. She began to speak, her voice steady and clear. "I am Noor," she said. "I come from a simple home, where my mother worked hard to give me a better life. I learned 8 languages, not because it was easy, but because I never gave up." She spoke about the power of education, the importance of kindness, and the courage it takes to dream big. Noor looked around the room and saw many young faces listening carefully. "Where you come from does not decide where you can go," she said. "With hard work and hope, anything is possible." When she finished, the hall erupted in applause. Tears filled Noor's eyes, tears of joy, pride, and gratitude. After the event, many students and teachers came to congratulate Noor. Some said her words had changed how they thought about their own dreams. Noor felt a deep happiness. She had not only succeeded for herself but had given hope to others. Back home, Maryam was waiting with a warm smile. She hugged Noor tightly. "You made me so proud," Maryam said softly. "You have grown into a strong, kind young woman." Noor smiled through tears. "I could not have done it without you, Mama." Omar visited soon after, bringing news that made Noor's heart race. "There is an opportunity to study abroad," Omar said. "A university wants to offer you a scholarship to continue your education in a foreign country." Noor's mind filled with questions and excitement. The thought of leaving home was scary but also thrilling. With Maryam's blessing and Omar's support, Noor accepted the offer. The day of departure arrived. Noor stood at the airport, her suitcase by her side. Maryam held her hand tightly. "Remember," Maryam whispered, "no matter where you go, you carry your home and your dreams in your heart." Noor nodded, feeling both sadness and hope. As the plane took off, Noor looked out the window and thought about the journey that had brought her here from a small house, through struggles and doubts, to this moment of new beginnings. At the university abroad, Noor faced new challenges, new languages, new cultures, and new ways of learning. Sometimes she missed home and her mother's comforting voice. But Noor remembered the lessons she had learned: courage, kindness, and the power of believing in herself. She made friends from around the world and studied hard. She shared her story with others, inspiring many to never give up. Years passed, and Noor grew into a confident, talented woman. She returned to her homeland with a heart full of dreams and a mind full of knowledge. Her first visit was to Maryam's house. Maryam's eyes shone with tears as she hugged her daughter. "Noor," Maryam said, "you have done what I always hoped. You are a light for us all." Noor smiled. "I am still learning, Mama. And I want to help others have the chance I had." Noor began working with Omar and Miss Lena to create schools and programs for children from poor families. She wanted every child to feel the power of education and hope. Her story became one of courage and kindness, proof that no matter where you start, your dreams can take you far. One evening, Noor stood under the stars with Maryam and Omar. The cool breeze whispered through the trees. "I am thankful," Noor said quietly. "For my mother, for Omar, for everyone who believed in me." Maryam squeezed her hand. "And we are thankful for you." Omar smiled. "This is just the beginning, Noor. The world needs your light." Noor looked up at the sky. Her heart was full. "I will keep shining," she said. "For all the children who dream." And so, the story of Noor, the daughter of a cleaning lady who spoke 8 languages, became a story of hope, courage, and the power of dreams. A story that would inspire many generations to come.